Hey guys, so yes, I have been reading this book called The Everyday Hero Manifesto by Robin Sharma, and I found the content of book pretty interesting, and I felt that why don't I share my interpretation or my understanding with you, and probably you may find interesting and inspiring as well. Today I'm going to particularly share chapter number 3 of this book, which is called The Final Hours of Your Defeatable Self. What really excited me to share this chapter with you was that the time of this year. I mean, we all are almost about to finish 2021 and in a couple of days, and we're ready to welcome 2022. And at this point of time, normally we reflect back to the year. I mean, how did it work out? What was good, bad, or so? This somewhere relates to where we are right now. So I felt, why not? I mean, I hope you guys enjoy and find it interesting. And just to inform you that these are purely my interpretations and my understanding from the book. While you read the book, you may probably find it something, your understanding could be a little bit different. So I'm still learning, and I'm just sharing my learnings along with you. To begin with, in this third chapter, Robin Sharma, the author, is in a very reflective mood, and he what he shares is that uh, he has a particularly designed space in his room, where there's a window and a table, and very creatively designed. He specifically uses this while working, while writing his content or creating any content for his his readers or his coaches and all. And what he mentions is that the winter is almost over and he's welcoming spring. He's having a cup of a coffee, sipping coffee, with some music. And I think we can relate to the environment. It's pretty good environment to reflect, to do this reflection activity. I mean, that's what one of the learning I take from him. But having said, going back to the actual content, Mr. Robin Sharma, the author, mentions out here that he's been doing this coaching activity and conducting so many workshops, programs, and writing books since past 3 decades. And he met thousands of people all across the world. Sometimes somewhere in a company where he's organizing his workshop, sometimes while walking on streets. He's been also part of various workshop conducted in his corporates or different places. And he, of last 3 decades, the understanding he gets is that he's met so many fantastic human beings and decent people, but with some amazing intentions or strong desires. And that's what he's sharing along with us, and which I felt are pretty common to us. We all have the similar desires. What the people about whom he's talking about, it's the similar desires we long for. So I felt, why not I share with you? And it's a great reminder to each of us. So to begin with, the first thing he mentions is that while his interaction with these people, he felt that most of the people mentions that they actually want to know how it feels to creatively express their genius, how it feels to be their authentic self, to be themselves. How fascinating! I mean, yes, there is an awareness, but at the same time, there is a desire to be your own self. So I'm sure that somewhere down the line, we too, at some point in time, are not our own self, and we have that desire. Why can't we be our own self? So I mean, I found it really, really interesting. Another thing which he mentions out here is to know the life's greater purpose. There have been times we are in a dilemma where we don't know what's our purpose. So yes, this is one of the strongest point which I agree with him. I mean, there have been time in our life as well wherein we felt what could be our life's purpose. So that's pretty interesting. Then the author mentions about one of the desires of uh, living a very daring and bold life, to be as much bold and as much daring as one can be in everyday life. So yes, I cannot agree more to this. Of course, you would like to be more bold and daring while taking your decisions, while taking your calls, or taking any actions, or doing something which you love to do. So yeah, it's one of the very important point. Uh, Being very bold and daring and dare to do anything, which of course helps you in to grow further. And one of the really important point which he mentions is to be optimistic about everything and about everybody in life. So yes, there comes a point in our life that we we do feel negative, yes, and we do thrive that you want to be positive. Of course, it's okay to accept the current scenarios, but yeah, the optimism is really important. So I kind of agree to this point. And some very important things like waking up every morning worry free, enjoy the smallest pleasures of life. We worry a lot about small little things and life just moves on. So yes, how does it feel to wake up morning, do your work, and enjoy every small little things and not to worry about small little things? Just enjoy a worry free life. That's something as simple as that, which we thrive for. So I really love this particular part of it. And something really interesting which I found is that to reclaim that relationship with a higher purpose, or reclaim that relationship with our highest potential, our highest ability, what's the maximum thing which one can do, and to reclaim that relationship with our most vivid ambitions or dreams. So इस वो ऐसा कहता है राइट कि हमारे सपनों के साथ, हमारे पोटेंशियल के साथ हमारा रिश्ता बहुत गहरा होना चाहिए. तो आई फेल्ट दिस इज रियली फैसिनेटिंग. अपनी लाइफ का पर्पस ढूंढना, अपना रिलेशनशिप स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाना अपने सपनों के साथ, अपने एम्बिशन के साथ, विदाउट वरीज ज़िंदगी जीना, छोटी छोटी बातों को एंजॉय करना, एज वेल एज बीइंग ऑलवेज पॉजिटिव. और सबसे ज़्यादा से इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग खुद ही रहना. बी योर ओन सेल्फ, बी अ क्रिएटिव जीनियस. Also there is a strong desire to not only experience but also to contribute to build that type of a culture or an environment where there is a victory of encouragement over criticism, or where there is a victory of leadership over victimhood. There's a victory of love over hate. There's a victory of ideas over gossips. So we all are looking forward to not only experience but also contribute our bit to build in such kind of environment or culture. So yes, these were the intentions and some really strong desires which the author shared with us, which he came across along with the people with whom he had a conversations. And what I feel is that we all have the similar kind of desires. In fact, these are almost same. So the first section was desires or intentions. The second section is things you already know. So you, in a sense, you, me, and everybody. So the author mentions that these are certain things which you already know. What's wrong, what's right. So he's sharing that you already know that if you do not express your potential, if you do not work up to your potentials, it's going to lead you to pain somewhere. So अगर हम सोचेंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं when we are aware that I'm not working up to my potentials, somewhere it's hurting you, and you know that eventually it's going to affect me. So that's something which we are already aware of. So I mean, I found it pretty interesting. Secondly, the author mentions that the measures of success with society shares with you, do not fall into that trap. It's a distraction to your goal. You define your own success. I mean, that's what I understand from his mention. Success could be different for everybody. So in any domain of our life, whether relationship, career, money, or anything, or health, success could be different for different people. So anything with society, any kind of definition society gives you about success, you can reject it, and it's in fact a distraction to you. So I mean, I found it pretty fascinating. Thirdly, the author mentions that the closer you go to your goal, the closer you reach to your goal or any of your target, fears will scream you. तो जितना हम आगे बढ़ते हैं लाइफ में, जितना हम आगे प्रोग्रेस करते हैं, थोड़ा डर लगता है कभी कभी. So I mean, how fascinating. I mean, we already know these things. We experience these. Whether if you think for a second in any part of your life, when you're about to complete something and it becomes a little scary in any area of your life. So I mean, I felt it's really interesting. And furthermore, anything which you're avoiding right now, you're procrastinating or postponing, delaying, you already know that your inner self is actually seeking that. Ironically, so true. Uh, whether it's day-to-day life activity, if there's something which we are delaying, somewhere down the line, if you check with your own self, you're actually seeking that desperately. So you know what to do. So I mean, you in a sense, me as well. I'm just using the term "you" just for a video, but it's for everybody. And I really love this. The author mentioned that being world class is nothing related to genetics or genes. World class is all about hard work, discipline, and habits. How fascinating. I mean, this cannot be more inspiring than this. And yes, the final point the author mentions, time is running, clock is, ticking. So we all know we need to be mindful and about to ensure that we do not delay our mastery and start from today. So these are the things which author mentions that we already know, in fact. So, but yes, these are the good reminders for each of us. So this was the second section of the chapter, which was about things we already know, means the things we already know, and the third section is something which in which the author provides certain suggestions to us to do something. And I think there cannot be a better time than this to get these suggestions or these kind of reminders, and I really loved it. The first very important thing the author mentions here is start today. Anything you have in your mind, personal, professional, or anything, simply start it. Start today. So that's something as simple as what we can understand. But shuru ho jao. That's it. The second thing is go beyond your limits, uh, beyond your capacity. Give your best. Once you reach your limits, you'll realize that I mean, you have sky's the limit, basically. As is popularly known. So yes, go beyond your limits. Uh, this is one of my favorite, where the author mentions activate the childlike nature, the childlike curiosity of how when we were small we used to ask questions or we were curious to know new things in life. That learning, constant learning practice, activate this. uh, he mentions that somewhere down the line, in the journey of life, we were schooled or we were taught to unlearn these things, and somewhere we learned to follow the herd, think in the similar way when everybody thinks. So to outgrow ourselves, we need to activate that childlike curiosity. बच्चे की तरह सोचना. I mean, just be the child, and that's how we grow. So I mean, how interesting this is. I personally love this. This is one of my favorite. And the third one, as it mentions, it's always about, you do not need any position or a title for this. You can be a leader without a title. You can influence somebody's life without a particular position. You can create your masterwork or masterpiece at any point of time. That's it. These were the three sections of this particular chapter, which I tried to, explain in from whatever best I could understood. And I'm sure when you read, you may get a new insight far more better. Then I look forward to your inputs. And we all have different kinds of interpretations, but I found it really inspiring. And to sum up, to conclude, I'm going to read out a few selected lines of this particular chapter. I hope you find it inspiring and interesting as well. So, few selected lines where the author says, "You know that you just can't afford to wait another day to step into the hero you have always imagined yourself being. And so, I respectfully suggest that you make your start today. Develop the guts to play out on the edges of your powers, because as you visit your limits, those limits will expand. And remember, that the easiest path is generally the poorest route, and the action delayed is greatness betrayed. Simply fascinating, especially the last two lines. I found it really inspiring. Action delayed is greatness betrayed. So how amazing! I really hope you found it inspiring, this particular interpretations. I look forward to your inputs and wish you your own reflection activity of 2021, and wishing all of you an amazing 2022 and a great beginning. See you soon. Bye.